Good evening. It's now 6:30 and I call this regular meeting of the Victoria City Council to order. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on our agenda this evening is announcements. The City Council will hold a half-day workshop on Friday, January 31st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Victoria Recreation Center, located at 8475 Kochia Lane. We will begin scoping discussions with the developer, Victoria DW LLC, on the Downtown West Phase 2. Council will also be discussing long-term vision for the Victoria Recreation Center. Please contact our city clerk if you are interested in attending. All meetings of the City Council are open to the public and held in the council chambers at City Hall unless otherwise noted. We encourage anyone wanting to attend our council meetings or workshops in person to contact our city clerk in advance so we can ensure physical distancing can be maintained. In other announcements, we are excited to announce the return of our Citizens Academy, which will be held Wednesday evenings for 5 weeks from April 10th through May 15th. Victoria Academy is free and participants will get a hands-on behind-the-scenes look at how our city operates. You can learn more or register on our website or contact our Communications and Public Engagement Director, Kendra Grawl, for more information. We are now recruiting for open seats on all of our Citizens Advisory Boards. If you would like to apply or learn more about the Planning Commission, the Park and Rec Committee, or the Senior Advisory Committee, please check our website or contact our city clerk. We are also accepting nominations for our Community Builder Award. Each year in June, the city recognizes an individual, group, business, or organization that has, through their outstanding volunteerism or exemplary action, demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to making Victoria a better place today and for the future. Nominations are due by March 31st. Please contact our Communications and Public Engagement Manager, Kendra Grawl, with any questions or if you need additional information about the program. There's one proclamation this evening honoring February 2025 as African American History Month. I will read that proclamation from the dais. Proclamation 2025-01, honoring African American History Month, February 2025. Whereas since the bicentennial year of 1976, Americans of all walks of life have come together during February to honor African Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. And whereas the observance of African American History Month highlights the ongoing need to combat racism and strive for a society that embodies democratic ideals. And whereas the City of Victoria takes pride in being a welcoming community where all citizens, past, present, and future, are respected and acknowledged for their contributions to our community, the state, the nation, and the world. And whereas the City of Victoria celebrates our community's diversity and embraces all individuals who live, work, and study here, regardless of their national origin, color, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, financial or socioeconomic status, or political beliefs. And whereas the City Council is committed to listening, learning, and maintaining an open mind when engaging with members of our community, business leaders, and community partners. And now, therefore, we, the mayor and council members of the City of Victoria, do hereby proclaim February 2025 as African American History Month. The City of Victoria urges all Victoria residents to unite in making this period of dedication to the principles of justice and equality for all people. This evening, it's also our tradition to recognize and welcome our new staff. Ms. Hardy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. This evening, we will continue with our tradition of introducing new staff that have joined the Victoria family since the last time we met. We've been doing this quarterly. So this evening, we have two new city staff that we would like to introduce. Both work for Public Works in the Public Works Department, Eric and Owen. So I will let them decide who would like to just pop up to the podium and introduce themselves.
Perfect. Welcome. Please introduce yourself and
Good
tell us a
evening,
little
Mayor
about
and Council.
yourself.
Eric Menth, 13 years in public works, various cities and locations, water, sewer, parks, streets, everything. I'm currently in streets with Mason here. Very grateful for this opportunity. It has been almost a month now, a little over a month that I've been here, and it's been fantastic. There's a great community here, and I look forward to coming every single day. A little bit of my background, my wife Taryn and I have been married 11 years. We have 4 boys, 10, 8, and twins that are 5. We just kind of do everything outdoors together, hunt, fish, camp, and explore Minnesota. So thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome.
You've got your hands full.
Yeah. Oh, and come on up.
How's it going? I'm Owen Clayton. I've grown up here in Minnesota my whole life, originally from Victoria, and then I recently moved to Chaska. I've been working here for almost a year now. Super grateful for this opportunity, and it's been a lot of fun every day.
Great. Well, thank you. Welcome to you as well.
And Mayor, members of the council, fun fact, if I think I got this right, Owen, you were a seasonal with us before joining us full-time. So we are really happy to have Owen with us full-time now.
Very good. Thank you. All right. We also want to welcome a couple new firefighters this evening. So heading that up is our Fire Chief, Dave Shoger. Chief Shoger, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Tonight we're going to be introducing our 2 newest firefighters. I'll have them introduce themselves in a second, but they both joined us back in December after going through our hiring process, including our background checks and physicals. They've succeeded all of those things with flying colors, and we're very, very excited to have them join us. So with that, I'll have Brad and Anton come up, whoever wants to go first.
Very good. Who we have first here?
Good evening. My name is Brad Spoden. Let's see, where do I start? I didn't know I was going to do an introduction. Been in Victoria here for about 8 years. Before that, I was a resident of Carver for about 13 years. My family and I live in Victoria here. I have a son that is a junior in school down in UWL. My daughter is a senior at Holy Family here. And my wife and I both work full-time. She's in Eden Prairie, and I work for Target downtown.
Very good. Well, welcome. And thank you for joining the fire department.
Thank you.
How do you follow that, huh? I'm Anton Glenn. Joined the fire department, like Dave said, a couple months ago. Really looking forward to being part of the community here. I've lived in Victoria now for coming up on 4 years with my wife and 2 daughters. They're 4 and 3, so a lot less, I guess, at school as much as at daycare and having fun, that kind of thing. But yeah, I work full time. I'm an engineer. I travel the state of Minnesota, going to different manufacturing plants during the day. And my wife, she's an accountant, so she runs the house and keeps me in line.
Good.
So, looking forward to everything. So,
Well, thank you both. Thank you for finding your way to our fire department. We appreciate your service to our community. And now Claudia and Dave will administer the oath of office.
Perfect. Sounds good. Ready? I, Anton Glenn, do solemnly swear. I promise that I will humbly serve all customers with an urgent response to their crisis with compassion, sincerity, concern, patience, kindness, and respect. I promise that I will, at all times, conduct myself in a manner that reflects positively on the Victoria Fire Department as well as the City of Victoria. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public trust and faith. I will honor and respect the mission, goals, purpose, and policies of the Victoria Fire Department. Finally, I promise to uphold the laws of our state, nation, and the ordinances of the City of Victoria. I will faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter to the best of my abilities.
Sorry, I didn't know if we were supposed to do in unison. I, Brad Spoden, do solemnly swear. I promise that I will humbly serve all customers with urgent response to their crisis with compassion, sincerity, concern, patience, kindness, and respect. I promise that I will, at all times, conduct myself in a manner that reflects positively on the Victoria Fire Department as well as the City of Victoria. I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public trust and faith. I will honor the respect, the mission, goals, purpose, and policies of the Victoria Fire Department. Finally, I promise to uphold the laws of the state, nation, and ordinance of the City of Victoria. I'll faithfully discharge my duties as a firefighter to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, gentlemen, and congratulations, and welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, and I know the firefighters are off to training this evening, so thank you very much. All right, our next order of business is to adopt the final agenda. Council, can I get a motion to adopt the final agenda?
Motion to adopt the final agenda?
We have a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to our next item, which is open forum. Open forum is the opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda and not in application form that will be coming to the council at a future date. No one has registered to speak in advance this evening, but if anyone in the audience would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda, please approach the podium now. All right, seeing no one, we'll move on to the next item, which is our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are routine administrative and do not require deliberation or are housekeeping items required by law. Consent agenda items are approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, does staff wish to pull any consent agenda items for separate discussion and vote?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Staff would like to pull items 5.7 and 5.9.
Very good. Council, any items that you would like to pull from the consent agenda this evening? Or a member of the audience that would like to pull something from the consent agenda? All right, clerk, please let the record reflect that items 5.7 and 5.9 have been pulled. Council, can I get a motion for the balance of the consent agenda, please?
Motion for the balance of the consent agenda.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now on to item 5.7, which was removed from the consent agenda. Ms. Hardy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Item 5.7 is to approve the exclusive development rights agreement with Victoria DW LLC. The reason that I pulled this was for two reasons. Number one, I just want to correct a typo for the record in the staff report itself. So the Victoria DW LLC is the correct entity that you would be considering for approval this evening. In the staff report itself, it refers to Victoria DTW, and so we just want to have clarification there. And then also for the public's benefit, we wanted to just draw some attention to the stakeholders that are a part of this group that you would be considering for approval this evening. So Downtown West Phase 2 development, you had issued an RFP to solicit proposals for the development for Phase 2 on that site. We did receive 3 proposals. We reviewed those, and Council, you have signaled that you would like to move forward with the exclusive development rights agreement with Victoria DW, which includes the Monarch development group, along with the stakeholders that did present to you. So this is the same group of individuals, the same proposal. They have just formed a new entity to execute this project. That entity's name is Victoria DW, so we just wanted to make sure that the public was aware of that.
Very good, thank you. Ms. Hardy. Council, can I get a motion for item 5.7?
Motion to approve the exclusive development agreement with Victoria DW LLC.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Hardy, you also pulled item 5.9. Please tell us about that one.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. 5.9 is to accept the decision of the Board of Adjustments and Appeals for an appeal request of a building permit located at 6315 Smithtown Road. I have pulled this for transparency, and our city planner is going to provide some additional information in a moment. However, this is coming to council because our ordinance does require council to review decisions made by the Board of Adjustments and Appeals. This is not something that happens very often. And so we just wanted to draw attention to what that process is and to provide information for the public's benefit as to what exactly council's role is related to that. So with that, I think our city planner, if the council would be willing to have him, he will quickly give a synopsis of what happened with the Board of Adjustments and Appeals.
Very good. Thanks, Ms. Hardy. Mr. McCann, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. Our zoning code says that the Planning Commission shall act as the Board of Adjustments and Appeals when appeals come through. So they did receive an appeals request related to a building permit at 6315 Smithtown Road. The Board of Adjustments and Appeals did hold an appeals hearing during their regular meeting on December 17th, 2024 for that appeal. The appellant and his attorney spoke at that hearing, as well as a few other individuals from the neighborhood, and they requested that the Planning Commission rescind the building permit approvals for that property. The city's building official and our associate planner was also in attendance. They did complete the respective building and zoning permit reviews for that building permit, and City Manager Hardy was in attendance as well. Related to the specific appeal, the appellant had 3 claims, the first one being that the structure is not a single-family home, as the permit states for residential new construction. They stated that it's actually a commercial structure. The second appeal request was related to the height of the structure, saying it was taller than the allowable 35 feet for our R1 district. And then thirdly, that the garage should be considered detached despite the connecting corridor connecting the home to the garage. So the Board of Adjustments and Appeals did consider the comments during the hearing and staff's review and ultimately denied the appeal request, citing that the 3 claims were unjustified and that the request met all applicable building and zoning regulations. And that's all from staff.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. McCann. Council comments?
I think I'm uniquely qualified to comment on this topic, as I was on the Board of Adjustments with the Planning Commission. I'm intimately familiar with the neighborhood, intimately familiar with how the system works. I have friends who've lived in the general area. And I just want to assure the people of Victoria that we spent hours going over researching state statutes, county ordinances, city ordinances, codes. And when we went through all of that, the structure met as planned everything that it needed to meet. I think that we are trying to protect the people of Victoria, their personal property, and as defined this situation, it met all state statutes and ordinances. And that is why it was denied.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember Pedersen. With that, can I get a motion for item 5.9?
I'd make a motion to approve 5.9.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are moving on to our regular agenda this evening. The first item, 6.1, is a preliminary plat, comprehensive plan amendment, rezoning, conditional use permits for Quick Trip. And presenting on that this evening, again, is City Planner Brian McCann. Mr. McCann, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. Yes, tonight we have 4 requests for Quick Trip, store number 1792. Their requests include a preliminary plat, conditional use permits for an accessory car wash and accessory gas pumps, as well as a preliminary rezoning and a comprehensive plan amendment. As you're all aware, we have 3 steps in our platting process. The preliminary plat is more the meat and potatoes. This is where we get the major entitlements granted, such as CUPs, which is related to the request this evening. So for the Quick Trip sketch plat that was reviewed back in August, our Planning Commission stated general comments such as traffic concerns, the water availability with the completion of well number 6 in our South Growth area, and then annexation procedures. And then when the City Council reviewed this back in August, they discussed the convenience store amenities, as well as support for a comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning if those requests did come forward, as well as questions regarding the approval and construction timelines for Quick Trip. Looking at the location and area, it's one parcel west of County Road 11, north of County Road 10, south of the railroad and the Victoria Ridge residential development. The overall parcel is about 48 acres in size, but the project site is actually 4.14, not 4.37 acres. They're proposing a 9,100 square foot convenience store with the gas pumps and car wash that I mentioned. The existing conditions of the site, it is a vacant farm site with some farm fields. There are minimal trees on the parcel overall, but there are none in the specific 4-acre area that we're talking about for Quick Trip. There's also a 125-foot wide power line easement that runs diagonally through the site. You can see one of the towers here in the photo just south of the Quick Trip area. Moving on to the land use review for those applications that were submitted. The comprehensive plan amendment specifically is to change the future land use designation of the area from flex employment to commercial, which aligns more with the type of project that is being brought forward, and then a preliminary rezoning from agricultural to C2 community commercial district. So here's the preliminary plat that was submitted. They have one lot for the Quick Trip site, the lot 1, block 1 as seen here. They also have a small strip of land out to the west here dedicated for Outlot A. And then the majority of the remaining developable land platted as Outlot B. The majority of the project, as you can see, is outside of that 125-foot wide easement with a very small portion of the future Road A designation in that area. They are also showing private stormwater in this rectangular piece within the easements here on the property. And since it's privately owned, it will be privately owned and maintained. Here's the site plan that was submitted for review with staff. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's a 9,100 square foot store. They do have 10 gas pumps, which you would see turning right off of Road A into the site. They also have a single lane car wash on the north side of the building. Overall, they're having 63 parking spaces throughout the site. That does include the 10 gas pumps, so one on each side, so 20 stalls within the gas pumps, and then 43 in the remaining areas. They also are showing a full entry and exit access from Ridgeview Boulevard and a full access at the Victoria Drive County Road 11 intersection. For the comprehensive plan amendment, as I mentioned, it's guided flex employment, which is this purple shaded area here. That's more typical of a business park, light industrial type setting. So the proposed change is to change that area to commercial. Some notes on the adjacent areas. There is obviously other areas of flex employment and commercial, as well as the Victoria Ridge development to the north, which is high density. And small pockets of open space throughout the site as well. That's the light green that you're seeing here in some areas. Looking at the rezoning, the property was annexed with the sketch plat request back in August. So when that happens, per our zoning code, an agricultural zoning district is automatically established for the property. So they are proposing to rezone that to C2 community commercial. We think that's the best designation since this will likely be a community amenity and not just a neighborhood amenity. And then just a fun note that this will be the first commercial development in our South Growth area. So I think we're all very excited about that. It's been a long time coming. Looking at the bulk regulations of the C2 district, they are proposing to meet or greatly exceed every single one of those standards so no concerns from a zoning perspective. Looking at the conditional use permits that were requested, car washes and gas pumps as accessory uses are conditional in our C2 district. As far as we can tell, the submitted requests are compliant with our two big conditional use permit sections, which are our general conditional use permit requirements and our specific requirements related to gas pumps. Here are those general standards that I listed before. We evaluate if it's consistent with the comp plan, if it has any potential impact to health and safety of surrounding residents, making sure that it complies with all of our regulations, as well as having adequate public infrastructure, meeting our minimum screening and landscaping requirements, architectural standards, zoning requirements, and that the proposed traffic capacities on adjacent roads is adequately planned. Diving a little bit further into the site plan, we'll look at parking, access and streets, pedestrian connections, park dedication, and landscaping. I'll note that we are not reviewing architectural lighting or signage. That will come with the final plat application. We'll look at those items more closely. Looking at the parking, as I mentioned, they're providing 63 total spaces for the 9,100 square foot store. The minimum requirement per our code is 33 spaces, so they're nearly doubling that minimum requirement. And then the site is also compliant with our minimum drive aisle widths and our minimum parking stall dimension requirements. They also did provide a site circulation exhibit to show that even the largest truck could fit through this area and weave throughout the site without any problems. So it works throughout the entire site. They are able to maneuver around entrances, exits, parking areas, gas pumps, and the north building turnaround that was recently included. They also did provide a traffic study looking at the Victoria Ridge intersection just to the north along County Road 11, as well as the Quick Trip intersection on County Road 11. Also evaluating the future potential right in, right out on County Road 10. So the way that they had it shaped out in the sketch plat, if you recall, Road A would connect from Victoria Drive and weave its way down to County Road 10 with an S-curve. So that is what was evaluated, was that road and everything that could potentially be collected on that road. So here you're seeing a breakdown of specific types of uses that could go about 4,400 daily trips, and then down at the bottom, total generation for full build out of that road A with all the uses around it, anticipated about 19,000 daily trips. So the traffic study did recommend a right turn lane into the Quick Trip site along Road A, which they have provided in the newest site plan that you'll see this evening. And then no additional recommendations were provided with the traffic study. Looking at access and streets, they have the full access at Ridgeview Boulevard that I mentioned, as well as a full access intersection at Road A. We did have some initial concerns about this regarding future full build out of Road A. This is just a single lane coming into the area off of Victoria Drive with 18,000 estimated daily trips. So we did work with the developers to have a condition of approval this evening, which we will show you, that has to do with potential future build out and traffic concerns related to this intersection. And then additionally, they are showing that full intersection at County Road 11 with one entry lane, as I mentioned, and two exit lanes, one left, one right, as well as dedicated left and right turn lanes into the site. For pedestrian connections and parkland dedication, they're showing sidewalks outlined in blue along Ridgeview Boulevard and Road A. They also have a private sidewalk connection from Ridgeview Boulevard into the site, which I've shown in red, and the future trail along County Road 11 outlined in green. For our park dedication requirements for commercial developments, it's calculated at 5% of the project area. So 5% of a little over 4 acres comes out to about 1/5 of an acre, or based on our current valuation of an acre of land in our fee schedule for park dedication, about $21,000. The Parks and Rec Committee did review this request and they recommended cash for the site, but they did discuss the possibility of a larger park area for the entire 80 acres of commercial development out in this area. And then last thing for me, before we move to Kara, landscaping and buffer requirements. So they are meeting a majority of our landscaping requirements regarding a 30% minimum open space, plantings for every 1,000 feet of that required open space, boulevard trees and landscape parking islands and shrubs to deter headlights onto the county road. They also will have to show us foundation plantings as part of the site plan and building review. I believe they're exploring an alternative for planter boxes, which is acceptable for our code. And then also that 30-foot landscape buffer separating the Victoria Ridge high-density apartment building to the north and the Quick Trip site. They did have to impact that berm slightly because of a fire turnaround that was required with their request. So City Council can approve a deviation to that berm requirement. I think they're only deficient about 14 trees. So it's not a large deviation, but still one that council should be aware of. And then I will pass it over to Kara.
Very good. Ms. Guerin, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm going to buzz through some topics. So City Planner McCann covered the site impacts, but I'm going to just cover the context of the Quick Trip site within the kind of broader footprint of the county roads around the site. So this graphic here is from the sketch plat. So this is the Quick Trip site shown here in green. So the configuration of the site is a little bit different today from what's shown in green, but just wanted to provide some overall context. So what you're seeing in red here is the line work from the corridor study for County Road 11 that was approved a number of years ago now. So what they're proposing for the Quick Trip site for access to the site is consistent with what the plan is for County Road 11 long term. And then what you're seeing as how what is now called Road A comes through the site is consistent with what was shown on the corridor study for County Road 10. Now, at the time the corridor study for County Road 10 was completed, the city did not pass a resolution of support for County Road 10. At the time, we were not in agreement with the county for what the proposed access spacing guidelines were for County Road 10. So that is an issue that as we start to proceed with growth in this area that we are going to have to re-engage with the county. At the time, it didn't make a lot of sense to have a lot of dialogue with the county about potential future to be determined uses. But now that we actually have development in the area, we are going to want to re-engage in that conversation. But specific to the Quick Trip site, what's being proposed is consistent with the corridor study. So back at the concept stage, I got to go backwards. So we were talking about what the timing and plan for improvements were going to be for County Road 11. And what this slide is in here for is to just highlight what the council is well aware of. There are many transportation projects planned in and around the county for the next 4 years. And so down here on the bottom, this little area that I'm pointing to right here is County Road 11 between the railroad tracks and the intersection of 11 and 10. So in the county's capital improvement plan, the planned improvements in this area are not scheduled until 2028. The reason for that is that we cannot have any impacts on County Road 10 while Highway 5 is closed in 2027 for the obvious reason that we're anticipating 10 and 11 both taking quite a bit of traffic when Highway 5 is closed. So because the plan improvements to 11, which will include the extension of what you see there today by Hunters Brook and Marsh Hollow, where we have a median running down Highway 11, is not planned to be completed until 2028. The developer of both Victoria Ridge, and we talked about this some already when the Victoria Ridge plat came through, and Quick Trip have been working with the county to determine what improvements need to be completed on County Road 11 on an interim basis until those full improvements come through in 2028. So the developer for this site will be required to construct full left and right turn lanes into the Quick Trip site to provide safe access to the site until such time as the full improvements come through in 2028. Brian did note the future trail along County Road 11. So the developer is required to provide a trail along County Road 11. But we aren't going to have the developer construct the trail at this time because of the scope of the improvements along 11. If that trail were to be built today, we would have to rip it out and reconstruct it, and that's just not a great use of funds. So we'll be, as part of the development agreement, requesting the developer to provide those funds today as part of the development agreement process to be used in 2028 when we build the trail. Stormwater management, Brian did touch on that as well. So typically in the city of Victoria, in our residential developments, what the council is used to seeing is that stormwater ponds are located on outlots that are deeded to the city. As we move into commercial districts, and we do this in the past in institutional sites. We don't have very many of them in the city of Victoria, but typically the stormwater management facilities in those circumstances are located on private property within drainage and utility easements that are then required to be maintained by the applicant. So in this particular case, Quick Trip did want to make sure that their stormwater runoff that is from this area shown in yellow is separated from the runoff from the street. So the city's water is separate from Quick Trip's water. So the stormwater facilities located in this area are covered by a drainage and utility easement, but will be maintained by Quick Trip. There will be a stormwater maintenance agreement that's required by the Carver County WMO. So Quick Trip will be required to maintain those facilities consistent with how the city is required to maintain them. But they will be responsible for that maintenance. The developer will be constructing a temporary basin to treat the water from the reddish pink areas. And as the rest of the site develops, this location may get relocated as we figure out the best location for stormwater for the balance of the site. As we look at the balance of the site, we'll be working with the developer to figure out whether we want to take a look at a regional stormwater facility or individualized stormwater facilities. If we head down a regional path, that would be a facility maintained by the city. So as we look in this area, we'll be figuring out what makes the most sense to maximize development of the site. In downtown, we use a regional approach. So in downtown, the city maintains those facilities so that we can maximize the development of the property, which maximizes tax base for the city. Utilities are planned to be extended to the site from Victoria Ridge. So trunk sanitary sewer will be extended down the road. That sanitary sewer is sized and located at a depth to serve the whole South Growth area. So we've been working with both this developer and the developer to the north to make sure that that facility is located deep enough to serve everything on the south side of Highway 10. East of the railroad tracks. So that has been a very important piece of the puzzle. That isn't something that I cover in great detail with the City Council, but we want to make sure that it's deep enough so we can minimize the number of lift stations that are located within the city. Another thing to touch on is just related to water supply for this area. So well number 6 is now complete. And we are just working through the permitting step now. So getting closer with resolving what had been a concern of great concern previous times that we've discussed that.
And then moving on to all the individuals and groups who have reviewed the project. So our fire department, engineering, public works, and community development departments have all looked at this application and reviewed them internally, and then externally, normally we send these out to the DNR. It's one of the few instances where we don't have a development within shoreland, so it did not need to go to them. It did go to Carver County and the CCWMO as well, and I believe their comments were attached to the case. So a public hearing was held with our planning commission just a few weeks ago. It was published in the Waconia Patriot on December 26th. It was also mailed to property owners within 350 feet. It was also posted online and at City Hall. Prior to the meeting, I did receive one phone call with just some general questions about future development out in this area related to this request. And then another comment requesting consideration of alternative access points along Victoria Drive for that intersection with Road A to lessen property owners' impacts on the east side of County Road 11 within Chaska. We did not receive any comments during the public hearing. And then the Planning Commission reviewed this at their January 7th meeting, as I mentioned. They discussed parking, car wash, screening and landscaping, noise mitigation from the car wash, and traffic along County Road 11, as well as the operation and design of the building and traffic circulation on site, as well as the greater area with Victoria Ridge and future development on Road A. They did recommend a unanimous approval with a 7-0 vote. Looking at the suggested conditions of approval, these were attached to your case. 2 of them have been modified. The first one you can see there in blue, just acknowledging that we did receive comments from Carver County Public Works Review, and that those comments should be incorporated with future submittals. And then secondly, that standard for Road A with the southern entrance, that possible right in, right out that staff expressed, just mostly related to the full build out of Road A, and that if it comes time that's deemed necessary for improvements based on emergency response out there or traffic safety review, a traffic analysis should be conducted for that intersection just to decide if warrants for improvements to that intersection should be done, and that Quick Trip would bear the responsibility of doing those for not doing it at the preliminary plat phase. So with that, I do have some sample motions for you on the screen. We do have 2 motions this evening. The first one for the preliminary plat, rezoning, and CUPs, and then the second for the comprehensive plan amendment. With that, staff can stand for questions, and we have representatives of that application in the audience.
Very good. Thank you, Kara and Brian. Welcome to the representatives from Quick Trip. Council, any questions, comments on this plat?
Mayor?
Yes.
Any chance I could pose a question?
Absolutely, please.
Great, thanks. As staff certainly knows, and I suspect council knows, the point in the process where I get involved mostly is prior to final plat. That's when I get title work. We do a plat opinion that talks about real estate interests and making sure that all the parties that have real estate interests sign off. That hasn't happened yet, but I see from the staff report that there is a transmission easement. I take it that's in favor of Excel. I presume is in favor of Excel. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Staff and developer did, I would call it moved mountains with respect to the railroad. You got, not me, you got an issue worked out where my legal input got accepted by the railroad. So I want to acknowledge that you're able to move mountains. I expected that to be very difficult. You made it easy, so that was great. Excel's a little bit of a similar animal in the sense that they are a big institution, and getting their answers is sometimes time consuming. I'm guessing, I haven't gotten the title work yet, I'm guessing that the easement they have will require that in order for there to be a road and drainage facilities and some landscaping and some grading to occur in the easement area, they're going to have to sign off on that. They're going to have to approve that as part of the planning process. I wonder if that topic has been broached, if staff knows about that, or if developer can say anything about where we're at with that.
Staff, anything from you? Any conversations with Xcel Energy?
None from me, Madam Mayor.
All right. This looks like somebody from the audience is getting up.
Yep.
Please
Good evening,
introduce
Dave
yourself.
Nash with Alliant Engineering, the engineer for the project. You're correct. We'll have to probably get an encroachment agreement from them. We already reached out to them and had some contact. We want to get this permit application in and finalize that city, and then we'll work on that application along with the county stormwater application during the final plat approval. But we're aware of it, and they're aware of the project, and we're working with them on it.
Very good, thank you. All right, does that satisfy you?
It does, thanks, Mary.
Very good, thank you. All right, council, any other questions, comments on this?
I would just,
Yeah, Councilmember Roberts, please.
I just want to confirm, I think I know the answer, but I just want to hear it out loud. The zoning change is just for this parcel currently, right? Because we're waiting to see what else might happen at the other ones, so we don't want to change anything now, correct?
Yes, Mayor and Councilmember Roberts, that's correct. This would just be the 4 acres that we're talking about this evening.
All right, very good, thank you. Anything else, Councilmember Roberts?
I guess, can you speak a little bit more to, I know there was in the packet some concerns about traffic flow and stuff. You know, those have been addressed, or we're happy with where they're at now?
Yes, Councilmember Roberts, I've got the sketch plat up on the screen here for reference. It's probably the best visual aid for this. So when we're talking about the Quick Trip site, our concerns were mostly related to this entrance here because of incoming traffic from Victoria Drive. And with a full build out of this area, 18,000 daily trips is not a small amount. We had concerns about potential stacking of people trying to exit onto County Road 11 and how that might impact people trying to take a left turn out of this site to get out of there. Poses some potential traffic concerns, and that's why we have the new condition listed in the case about if traffic warrants in the future that intersection should be evaluated again.
Maybe I misread it. Was there concern with the car wash area too? Maybe I'm misremembering what I read, but
no, that's true as well. We had some concerns without the turnaround on the north about site circulation. If I can go back to the site, you can kind of see, if you imagine this not being here, basically cars would come up here and come to a dead end where the car wash is leaving. Now that we have the turnaround on the north side, that's alleviated staff's concerns.
great, thank you.
Other comments, questions?
Just
Councilmember Reif.
just a comment on the, I'll call it berming between the area and Victoria Ridge. I think, if memory serves, like a 30-foot berm. Is that accurate?
It's a 30-foot landscape buffer. With
Or
a
buffer,
8-foot berm.
or an 8-foot berm, or 30-foot, okay, got it. So I guess I'm just curious if it's, I'm trying to visualize that for that neighborhood.
Welcome back.
Dave Nash again,
Thanks.
yeah. As staff said, it was a 30-foot buffer.
Yep,
We're supposed to get about an 8-foot berm into
8 foot,
it,
yep.
but because of the additional drive-through that the fire department wanted, that got reduced down to about 2 or 3 foot berm. But you still see with heavy landscaping, it's going to be well screened.
okay. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Anything else, Councilmember Reif?
Nope, I think I'm good, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Pedersen, anything from you?
Just a couple comments and one question, and it's a basic one. I had some concern about private stormwater. Those have been alleviated, so thank you, Kara. It's kind of planning commission hat on backwards here, but on the northwest corner, it seems like there could be a lot of traffic that would access this facility. Is there a pedestrian or bicycle type of an access point to the facility, or do I have to go all the way down to County Road or Road A in order to access it? And here comes my real basic question. Where's the front of the store?
Welcome.
I mean, I know it's not north, but I'm not sure about the other
Oh,
ones.
these are the sidewalks. Okay,
Yeah,
very good.
good evening, council and mayor, and thank you for the question.
Yeah, tell us who you are, please.
Oh, Lisa Watson, sorry, from Quick Trip, real
All right.
estate manager.
Thanks, Lisa.
So thank you for the question. The front of the store is in front of the pumps. But what you guys see here, and I did address this with council, because one of their concerns was obviously how we face, and we changed the layout. The front of the store and the side of the store look identical. So if you honestly were to pull up, the vestibules mimic one another. And that's on purpose so that we have a nice look on the side of the building and we have a nice look on the front. But the front is always in front of the canopies because that's where people walk directly from their car to get into the store. But if you notice, we like to do the side vestibule because if people aren't purchasing gas, we want them to have another entrance to be able to easily access the store. But they look identical, and most people don't know, you know, besides where the pumps are, but that the pumps are the front of the store.
It would be very similar to the Waconia one, right?
Yes.
On Highway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And as I stated before, this is the Gen 3, the biggest store. So this is what Waconia has, which is the 9,100 square foot store. The sidewalk, as you see in red, would be your access point on that west side over to the store.
Gotcha. And my only comment was perhaps there should be one on the other side for when that trail's built and there seems to be a lot of
on the County Road 11.
what is it
side,
called?
Victor?
Victoria Ridge. Yeah, on the side of County Road 11.
11.
Just that northwest corner, you'd probably get a lot of foot traffic coming through.
I will make a note to have,
Again, it's
we
front.
can look at adding a sidewalk from that trail into the front of that. That's quite common on some of our sites, so we will take a look at that.
And that's where you have your own private sidewalk on the west side, and that's where I was like, is that the front of the store? Or is this, well, there's all this parking on the east side, so is that, anyway, thank you for
It
answering
makes
that.
sense, so we will take it under consideration, absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyway, so those are just stormwater and access points. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Any other questions, comments? Very good. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion. We'll take this in two motions, please.
Motion to adopt the resolution approving a preliminary plat, preliminary rezoning, and conditional use permits for Quick Trip number 1792.
Thank you. Councilmember Roberts, we have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the second motion, please.
Motion to adopt the resolution authorizing submittal of a comprehensive plan amendment for Quick Trip number 1792.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Thank
I do
you.
notice that
You're on your way.
Mayor, I didn't say with staff conditions. Do we need to redo the first one?
I think that'd be better, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna try
So
again.
motion to adopt the resolution approving a preliminary plat, preliminary rezoning, and conditional use permits for Quick Trip number 1792 with staff conditions as presented.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Thank you. All right. Next item is item 6.2, which is a zoning text amendment and conditional use permit for Rogers Memorial Hospital at 8150 Bavaria Road. It has been brought to our attention late Friday afternoon that Rogers Memorial Hospital is withdrawing their application, and council will not need to take any action this evening. Mr. McCann, is there anything additional you'd like to note on this item before we move on?
None for me, Madam Mayor.
All right. Anything else from council? Very good. Moving on. Item 6. Moving on, our final item is item 6.3, which is a closed session for Highway 5 and 11 downtown Victoria West project property acquisitions. So pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3B, I'd like to make a motion to close the meeting to discuss Highway 5 and 11 downtown Victoria West project property acquisitions regarding the following property PID numbers: 65.5400020, 65.014210, 65.0110800, 65.0820020, 65.0820010, 65.0142500, 65.0141010, and 65.0141100. That is a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We will all go into closed session. Once we're done, we'll return and reconvene the regular meeting of the council. I make a motion that we reconvene the regular meeting of the City Council. Can I get a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Council, there are no more items on our regular agenda, so we'll move on to reports and emerging issues. Attorney Vos, you're up first. Anything from you this evening?
Mayor, Council, I do not. Thank you.
Ms. Hardy, anything from staff?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
And finally, anything from the council? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned.